Hey everybody, welcome back to Nice Guys Prospecting. Like always, my name's Adam, part-time prospector out of Massachusetts, and this is part 2 of last Wednesday's episode. So we're going to jump in right where we left off. So on last week's episode, we put together the Flower Gold Wizard's Gold Ripper, and to be honest, I wasn't exactly using it correctly. I was just kind of playing with it. And to use it correctly, you really need to either paint it down to very, very fine cons and then apply very slowly, or use a cleanup sluice before you use the Gold Ripper. So, I finally went ahead and finished the Handyman helper. Check this bad boy out. It is finally a thing. It's not like you gotta hold this or do that. It's a thing now. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. Came out awesome. Works really well. I mean, check that out. It's like a thing you'd buy. Except for over here, I need to get a new grommet. This little grommet right here is actually it's a gasket for a valve cover gasket on an engine. I think it's for one of my Fords. Either way, for now, check that out. Just throw it around. It's not 3D printed. You could drop that. It's fine. So what we're going to do today is we're going to run some pay dirt. The Rigby pay dirt we got from the Flower Gold Wizard last week. And some other things I've kind of thrown in that I've had kicking around in other pans that I just kind of want to get rid of. So, that's the gold that came out of the Rigby pay dirt. And here is, like I said, just some stuff I had laying around. There should be some gold in there. If there isn't, I don't know what I did with some gold. But anyway, I wanted to show you the gold before we get into it. I'm going to combine the two. We're going to run them down the Handyman helper. Take the cons out of that. Or from that, I should say. And run it down the Gold Ripper. So let's mix up some dirt. Some pay dirt, that is. Get things going. Alrighty, let's mix some dirt. See if I can do this with one hand. Doesn't exactly matter what we get out of this, because most of the gold is in there. There might be some gold in here, or there should be. But regardless, we already got plenty in the pan. This is kind of like our filler material. I would say this is maybe the biggest thing in here is maybe a little over an eighth kind of thing, 3/16 maybe. Get a little water in there. Do. Alright. That there. It's fairly clean. No visible gold in there. So we're good. That's our pay dirt. Let's grab the Handyman helper. Just throw her in. That's what she's made for. Nothing like throwing handmade electronics in the water. She floats for a quick second. And then, whoops, a little too much water in there. Uno momento. Alright, we're back in business. Currently, I'm actually waiting for some feet for this thing to come in the mail. They're supposed to be here today, but it didn't show up, of course. But either way, in the future, this will have some feet, so it'll be probably another 2 inches off the ground. And I was also thinking of maybe having the dueling pump intake hoses hang out the bottom with like maybe some fuel filters or something like that to prevent the sand from going in. Right at the moment, I didn't show you before, there's a baffle in the front with a hole in it. And then I got 4 holes down the side on each side. Because after playing with it last night, I had to excessively drill more and more holes until I got enough volume of water in there so the pump didn't stop, because we were having a problem with cavitation, a lot of bubbles. But anyway, besides the nitty gritty, let's plug her in and get going, eh? Okay, we're set up here. Fired up. Check it out. Nice and smooth. Can't hear anything. Dang noisy furnace back there. Not too bad. There's a little bit of a bump in the middle with the water there. I think it's actually just a little bit of excessive glue I might have to scrape off. But it seems to be working flawlessly. I was using it last night. Didn't lose a thing. We got our catch pan there. Let's get us loosened, eh? I'm going to move the BB3R back a little bit so we can throw our pan over. We'll get right back at you. We are good to go. We got a full-size scoop. This is a cleanup sluice, but, you know, it's got Dream Mat, 4 inches wide, 14 inches long. See how she does. Turn it up a little bit. Let's turn it up to, say, 57. That's a good year for cars, eh? Ooh. That seems to be working flawlessly. Let's get some pay dirt in there. Might have to shimmy this pay dirt down to one side. A little too much water in there at the moment. Now, since this is built rugged like, this nice rubber mat here, and everything being made out of aluminum and whatnot, you can kind of just whack the shovel on there if you need to, and everything still collects. And you can already see evidence of this being dirt from my house. Random pieces of wire. She's catching. Let's keep sluicing. This is slightly difficult, trying to hold the phone and doing this at the same time, but I think now we got it. Sure, that right on there. Let's check it out. Not too bad. Let that clean out for a second. You can see everything spinning around in there. Very nice. So, as you can see, I'm still trying to learn how to use this myself, or the best way of using it. But now that I turned the water up a little bit more, it's a lot simpler. I'm going to just let the shovel go down, a little water in there, a little more, and she's cleaning out great. In hindsight, probably should not have added the dirt from my house. It's going to be annoying with the gold ripper having all the extra chunky stuff in there. Probably should not have done that. But either way, we're learning. Let me get through the rest of this and we'll do a clean out. Until then, we'll get back at you. So let's check it out before we do the clean out. Definitely see some gold in there and a whole bunch of copper. Dang it. Either way, a little nervous. The last thing I did was kind of just tilt the pan and pour it in there, and it ran a little fast. So hopefully it still caught it, but we're gonna find out. Let's do a cleanup. Alright, so we got our clean pan, our cleanup buddy. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do this with one hand, but we'll see. See if we can just scoot the cleanup buddy and over the pan like. Oh, there we go. A little difficult with one hand. Sha-sha. Oh, oh, pan wants to float away. Oh, oh. Risky business here. Actually, I got some tape back here. Will that hold you for now? Maybe? Alright. So we're just gonna take the pan from the bottom. Nice and simple like. Sorry, still trying to do this with one hand. Alright. And the pan, the mat comes sliding right out. Just like that. Alright, let me put the phone down for a second before I mess something up. Get the mat in the pan. We'll get going. Do a little clean. Make sure there's nothing in here. Let that run just for a second. Make sure there's nothing stuck to this little indicator mat. I think we're good. Click. Alright, let's see what you got. Put down our clicker here. Actually, might as well just shut off the BB3 altogether. Alright, let's take our pan out. Do a little cleaning. These dream mats are a dream to clean. Very easy. Everything seems to just fall right out. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, good to go. I'll show you just how simple it is. You'll see this little notch in the corner there. That was unintentional, but it actually helps out. What you do, you slide the mat up to that notch, make sure everything's nice and tight on that side, and then you just tuck it over on the other side. And she fits in there real well. She ain't going nowhere. Very pleased with this unit so far. Super cool. I mean, check this out. It's a thing. It's its own thing. Alright, so we got our pan of cons. And yeah, I made a horrible mistake adding in the random dirt that I had without looking at it, because it has tons and tons of copper shards. It's like when you get a stranded wire and you cut it and then you get all this. Yeah. But besides that, look at all the gold. Clearly doing its job. Ooh, some lead shot in there too. Wicked cool. For the gold ripper's sake, I'm going to do a little painting, a little fine painting, get some of this stuff out of there. Then we'll run it down the gold ripper. The doot action. See if I can do this with one hand. In a small container that's making waves. Alright. Let me get some more out of there. We'll be right back. After doing a little bit of painting, this is what we got left. That is probably the proper amount to be using on the gold ripper. Probably shouldn't have the metal wire in there, but that normally shouldn't happen. This is what we took out. This line of stuff here. All the light blondes and whatnot that normally a cleanup sluice would get right out of there. This is kind of like a, you'd go from a high banker to the medium size cleanup sluice to a mini cleanup sluice like the Flower Gold Wizard has. Pretty much this with riffles, and then you'd go to the gold ripper. So obviously kind of have to get myself a mini cleanup sluice, but for now this for panning is unbelievable. It just bang bang, you're good to go. You can take a whole pan of cons from the high banker, not that you'd ever have a full pan of cons, run it through, and everything's gonna be there. Check this out. Gold galore. And some copper. So, let me set up the gold ripper. And let's see if we can, unfortunately, abuse that little machine again. I was wanting to do it the right way. But for what I've seen from the Flower Gold Wizard, his products, very cool. I'm definitely interested. I'd like to get the super fine, I think he calls it black poison pay dirt. That would be super cool. I think that would be even better to run down the gold ripper. I think that's probably more what it's designed for. But either way, we're going to continue playing here. Let's set up the gold ripper. Alright, as you can see, we got the gold ripper set up. We're sitting at just a tad off a level. I believe that's correct. Handyman helper, relaxing over here. Did a fantastic job today. So let's fire her up. Let's start sluicing, eh? We are good to go, as you can see. We got the cutesy little pan here with our little collection of cons. We're gonna fire things up. Check things up before we go. Let the pump catch up. It takes a second when you start so low. Just fire it up A little higher for a second. There we go. Now we can turn it back down. Pretty cool. Nice and smooth. Almost a laminar flow, you could say. Up here, most definitely. So, let's try that out. Not sure how we're gonna do this holding the phone. Gonna have to, yeah, we'll prop the phone up over there. See if we can get a good angle. Okay, so we put the camera on the other side of the room. But either way, keep forgetting, you need to invest in cameras, or at least some kind of tripod. But this should work. We've got our pan, cutesy little pan here. And what I'm gonna try to do, put a little bit of excess water down there. Use the little brush. Comes with a kit. Oh yeah, that works very nice. And we're just gonna try to gently sweep the gold onto the gold ripper. Let's get into it, eh? Put a little on there first. Alright, I can see it's going a little too fast. Let's turn it down. Oop, can't turn it down that much. Oh, yes I can. Yes I can. Never mind. So, let's take a look. I think I might actually, I'm going to give it slightly more closer to dead level elevation, but it's still holding the gold. Let's just give it a little bit of a lift to get back at it. See if a little bit of cardboard helps. Alright, I like that. Now you'll see when I show you the little close-ups here, there's like little pebbles, little pieces of copper. That definitely should not be in there. You should be classifying or smooth water sluicing before you use the gold ripper. Ideally, I usually classify before using the handyman helper. But I got a little carried away and wanted to just throw a bunch of stuff through it to see if it would catch. Which it did. But now I'm stuck trying to finagle this situation here without the mini cleanup sluice in between. So we're gonna get going. But yeah, not exactly ideal for what I'm doing to it. But we got it down to fairly the nitty gritty. Let's see some gold. Now let's move the camera over as it's in its action mode. Look at that. Gold is staying, and the black sands is just scooting away. Very cool. Very cool. Rocks like that definitely should not be going across the gold ripper. We'll just kick those away. Lead shot. Yeah. Goodbye. Roll away. Whee. Check that out. Gold's just chilling. Now you can see it every once in a while. It'll slightly move. It's a bigger piece with like a, or maybe like a flaky like piece. These pieces are almost even too big for this. This is really meant for fine powder gold. But yeah, this is working great. I think I might even tuck it up a little higher. Make it even more flat. Let's try that. looking pretty good. Now it's literally just a tad not level. Let's check things out here. Just a tad not level. That is the ideal position. Once again, I'm not an expert with this unit. I've only seen a few videos on it. I've only had it or used it, I think now the third time now. But I am pleased. This is definitely a gold hobbyist unit. You're getting your gold down to the finest, super clean, put it in a vial kind of thing. But I'm pleased. This is cool. It works, especially for the price. Smooth water sluice head. I can move that over to a different unit if I want. But I'm definitely thinking I'm going to need the smooth water cleanup sluice to go next to it. You know, it just seems to be a necessity at the moment. Go from handyman high banker to handyman helper to the cleanup sluice to the gold ripper. I think that's the way to go. Got a little bit left here. Let's throw it on. Very cool. A little bit of water in there. And right at the moment, I think I'm actually feeding it too fast too. Even though that was only a little bit. This is definitely someone that's got patience. You want to take your time. And you want to get everything down to the finest thing. Remember, this is a flour gold cleanup sluice or gold ripper. Not even a cleanup sluice. This is past that, down to the nitty gritty. So this is really maxing the thing out for the size of material I'm using. But as you see, you let this baby run and you don't overflow it like I do. It works flawlessly. It's cool. It's pretty cool. And what you can do here is rake the gold up and try to get the black sands to keep going. And once you let things run for a little while, and see, and make sure you don't get any gold stuck to your brush there. Let that run for a little while. You get all the black sands off of there, and you'll be done. You'll be just left with your gold. And as you can see, the little tiny flaky pieces, they will move every once in a while, but that's what the brush is for. You kind of just scoot it back up. And this stuff here, just kind of go through it, make sure you don't have any gold in there. I don't see any gold down here. Is that a tiny piece? Maybe. Scoot that up. Either way, like I was saying, take a quick look around. I don't see any gold down here. We'll just get rid of all that mess. And presto, we just got rid of half of our cons just like that. Gold, all still chilling at the top. Gotta say, pretty impressed with this unit. Pretty cool. With the combination of mini or medium cleanup sluice, you could say. Mini cleanup sluice in between, and then the gold ripper. It's a pretty cool setup. I'm excited. Things are coming along in the gold room. Kind of turned into the gold lab lately. As you can see here, I've been slowly buying nuts and screws and things that I might need. Each one of those packets are like $1.27. So every time I go to Home Depot, I buy like 10 of them, just like it. You know, have stock to build more things. Speaking of building things, you may have noticed these pans over here. Actually, probably shouldn't just let that run. Pretty cool. Nice guy prospecting. Super cool. Either way, what do we got going on here? Well, this nice, shiny, perforated hole metal here. I'm hoping, since it is fairly flexible, but still very strong, decently thick, I'm hoping I can roll that into a trommel cage. The trommel cage is going to go with my 36-inch long Handyman High Banker XL edition. That's what I'm thinking here. So if I were to cut both these walls out here, maybe fold that one over, that distance there is 36 inches, plus that folded over piece. Give you some room for a indicator mat. And we're going to have a 12 by 36. Man, it might actually wind up being like 32. But either way, it'll be fat. It'll be, actually, got this backwards. Had that backwards. Either way. So we got like a 10.5 to a 12. So it's basically going to taper down, or taper up, I should say, from 10.5 to 12. But it's going to be about 36 inches long. That's a little better than what we had going on over here, where this is only 6 by 16. Now we're going to have roughly a foot by 36. Here's the catch tray kind of thing. They'll be up there once this is all cut and mated together. Mat will be in there kind of thing. This will be up there. And hopefully I'll be able to incorporate a trommel. I've seen some companies make some small little trommel units. It doesn't seem too complicated. But nonetheless, another upgrade, since it was only, it was less than $20, so you just can't go wrong. You got this smaller piece here, a little bit of smaller grid. That, I'm hoping to replace the metal grate on here that was kind of catching the rocks a little bit. As you can see, there's still one stuck in there. And put that on there. Maybe have a little bit more distance of matting kind of thing. But we're going to try that out someday. Put that back up on the shelf. Got so many ridiculous things going on. But this is a project that I'm kind of just ordering pieces for over time. Probably won't get that for another couple weeks. Still got some more things coming in. Yeah. But so far, this all set up. Pretty much got the majority of an extra large high banker that, if you were to buy an extra large high banker, they're nearly $1,000. This, so far, we are at, where would it be, 90 bucks, 90 bucks-ish, with all this together. Not too bad. With another, say, $100, $200 in materials, we're going to have ourselves the equivalent of, $700, $1,000 high banker for the price of about $350, maybe $400 when I add a bunch of lights to it and make it all ridiculous like. But hey, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. But next week's episode, I've been waiting to do this for a long time. I've had these tucked over here. Well, not here. They've actually been in the garage. I brought them in so I can show you. Different size shovels. You got a big one. You got a little one. And we got that thing. And what we're going to do, we're going to try to make some box shelves. Which means adding walls and little taper tanks so when you're scooping, it doesn't wash over if you're scooping in a river. Ironically, the Hip B, I just saw he posted a video of his shovel. He's talking about his. A lot of people don't know where to get them. It's a hard thing to find. So, me being a person that likes to make my own equipment, let's make our own equipment. Now those shovels are actually fairly cheap. For some reason it's kind of hard to find just shovel heads for a decent price online. But for the same thickness and supposed quality of metal shovel heads, the small ones were only a little over $10. The big ones were less than 20. Not bad. So, what a bit of plate metal. I think it's tucked under there. Yeah, it's tucked under here somewhere. Either way, there's the plate metal back there. We're gonna add some walls to each one of these and try them out. And if it works out, maybe I'll stop making them. You know, if somebody wants one, I'll make you one. Whatever. They're not that hard. I like welding and things. But let's at least make it there first. Before we get all crazy like, yeah, I got you, bro. And then things don't work out. Or something, Chinese metal, something, whatever burns through. Either way. Regardless. We've got a lot of things going on here. Got a lot of equipment building up. Gold room. It's turning into the gold lab. Very cool. One more time. Check this little unit out. I'm sorry. I'm just proud of this. You know, you could buy a cleanup buddy. I think they're on sale now for like $88. Now, besides all the tools that you have to have and the know-how, all in all the materials here, even the wire and the connectors, was just about $80. I think it actually was just a little over. Actually, with this, technically, would make it, you know, I think actually right about $88, which is ironic. If you add in the glue, man, either way, for about the same exact price, we have a 4 by 14-inch cleanup sluice, not a 3 by 12 that starts here, so it's more like a 10. And it's metal. It's durable. It's a thing. Kind of looks cool. I'm not into them, but if you're into Cybertrucks, I mean, that would probably look cool in your Cybertruck. But either way, I'm gonna get back to doing some more things like usual. Hope you guys had fun checking out what I had going on this week. Hoping to get out in the field in about another week or two. Prospect Dave reached out to me. He's like, hey, let's try to hit the river before they freeze. And he's like, yeah, if they're flowing, we're going. You know what I mean? And one more thing before we go. Almost forgot. We need to pan back the cons from the handyman helper. See what we got in there. Let's get at it. Alright, see if we can do this with one hand here. Alright, I think that's small enough. Let's see what we got going on. Quick little toss back. Is that old? What is that? No, that's actually mica. Oh, jeez. Thought we had a piece of gold there. It's kind of nervous. But nope. And there you have it. Handyman helper. Caught all the gold. But like always, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Helps build the channel, you know what I mean? But until then, this is Adam, the Nice Guys Prospecting. Thanks for watching.